Welcome back to the channel. We hope you're safe and well. We've actually come out on a sunny day and we've come to the place called St Albans, also known as Verulamium. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we have a guest appearance on our walk today. Somebody who has 4 legs, not 2. So we're joining us on this trip is our guest star. As you can see, she's ready to go. Her name is Rhea, and she's on loan to us just for the week. And she said she wanted to have a look around Verulamium to get to know the Roman history. She says she's quite interested in all the birds as well, and anything else that she can chew on. Is that right, Rhea? Rhea? You're not looking at the camera. Hello? Rhea? Rhea? Hello? Hello? Just a little bit of history about St Albans. Obviously it's not always been known as St Albans. It used to be an ancient Celtic site called Verulamium, which means basically a settlement by the marsh. Now when the Romans came across, they took over the area and renamed it as Verulamium. So that was quite interesting. A bit later on in time, it became such an influential place that it was the 3rd largest walled city in England for the Romans, and they actually gave it Latin rights, which means Municipium. So have a look at that in the dictionary. It'll help you to understand what that really meant. This is the location of the basilica, and they've drawn out some of the foot plan on the paving. Inside the museum is the actual inscription that they found, and here's a copy of what it looked like. If you want to translate that, you'll feel welcome to do so. Here on the floor is the foot plan, or at least some of it. And of course connected to the basilica was the temple. As the crow flies, if we head out in that direction, you come to the main road, and just opposite the main road is the Verulamium Amphitheatre. Amphitheatre, not the same as a place where the gladiatorials would have taken place. Very different. It would have been where shows would have put on. And if you wanted to go and have a look inside the museum, this is just an idea of what the prices are in 2023. Absolutely brilliant in there. We're not going to film in there because obviously we want you to go and enjoy it yourselves. And here, in a brilliant Roman style, is the museum from the outside. Definitely worth a visit. And you see the footprint of the basilica from here. just entering into the park now, and this would have been the layout of the Roman city of Verulamium, as it was called back then. And Raya's already off on her walk, so she's all excited. So I'm going to try and keep up. And in fact, she's coming back towards me now. Hello, Raya. Are you okay? While there's not too many people about, there's a nice little cafe here, which I film from a distance so that everybody's identity is protected. And a play area from a distance. There's also a splash park in the distance, but again, we won't film too close because that's not appropriate. But children love playing over there, and obviously it's a very safe environment for them. As we walk past the splash park, which is now behind me, you come to the first of the lake. A very pretty place, as you can see. I don't know if Raya's ever seen a little bit of a lake, so this could be interesting. So this is around the middle of the park, and when we look at it, it's the lowest point within the park. Suggests that the River Ver would have ran here at some point, so it must have been moved a little bit. Here we see the river, well, next to me. Now, about 1,000 years ago, it's mentioned that the Saxons also had a pond here. It's also mentioned in the Domesday Book. Then come forward to the 1920s, 1930s, when the park was turned into Verulamium Park. A whole load of navvies came down from the north, and they assisted in building the park as it is now. And the pond was built with its ornate structure. What are you saying? Really? What's the problem? What? You want to eat the ducks? Okay. Place to have a nest. Looks like a docking station in space, doesn't it? You know, something like you see in Star Trek. All pulling up. dear.
Welcome.
Raya,
Welcome.
do not tell your parents.
That's enough. No more. No more. No more. Come on.
No, I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Get off. I'm having it.
No.
She says, get off. I'm staying. I'm taking the stick. I'm taking it.
You're not taking a stick. Come on.
She says, I'm taking it. Lots of work has been done since the 30s to look after the rivers and make sure that the habitat can get in and out in a freshwater environment. If you think about the fish that need a good throughput, there's lovely little walkways everywhere, as you can see, obviously. Lovely places. Quite a few signs up talking about bird flu. And what is unusual is I've actually come out on a day where it's sunny, which is a very welcome thing. This really useful graphic in front of part of the remaining Roman wall shows us part of the wall as we're approaching what they call the London Gate. And if you can imagine, Watling Street went through St Albans, or Verulamium as it was, and Watling Street of course came up from London and actually heads all the way out towards Wales. We call it the A5, although the A5 has been extended a bit from the original Roman road that was there. When you think This was probably the third largest walled city in Roman Britain. So Verulamium had to be protected, and so it almost stands at most of the height that the wall would have been at. Most of the material has been robbed out, and in fact if you look at the cathedral, most of the cathedral's tower is made of Roman material. So the town of Verulamium would have been used over the thousands of years to build the town of St Albans. Stop you eating stones.
That's enough.
That's enough. Better off my packet. You can see the line of the hill there, where the wall would have ran along. And then the wall would pivot right, enclosing the Verulamium town. So we're outside of the city. And we're looking inside the Roman city. And this is what remains of the London Gate. So here's an artist's impression of the London Gate. As you can imagine, it would have been extremely impressive. And you can see the pedestals of it in the distance, and the height of the wall to the left of it. Ray is just inspecting some of the work of the Romans. And what do you think, Ray? Any good? This map's really helpful because you can now see Watling Street. And of course, Watling Street is the road that Queen Boudica made her last stand on. Is that right? Ray, you agree? She said I got that detail correct, because some people used to call it Boudicca, Boudicca. Pretty impressive, huh? No doubt most of that's in the cathedral just up the road now. And of course all roads lead to Rome, so those roads would have led to Dover, and as they go across to Dover to the next roads off in France. It's pretty impressive. I mean, for obvious reasons, it says do not climb on the walls. But you think if you was approaching this city and you've been living in a wattle and daub building made of mud and straw, and you saw something built like this, you would be truly impressed by it. Just to give you a bit of perspective, I'm going to ask Neris to come and stand next to it to give you an idea of the height of it. Roman, could you come and stand next to it, Ness, just so that we can see the height of it as perspective, as Raya eats another leaf. So here's Neris, as of course. You're 5'8". Yeah, rubbish. Yeah, right, 5'8". Okay, 5'8".
About 7 foot.
So that's what remains of it. That's 7 foot. Pretty impressive. Raya says it's really impressive, isn't it, Raya? Yeah? Don't show your parents. No rolling in the mud. Gonna have to have a shower now, aren't you, eh? We are in trouble.
There come. There come.
She says, I'm gonna just roll a bit more. Here we have another artist's impression, fantastically drawn for us. And it indicates that the walls were built around the 3rd century in the traditional Roman way, with the tiled bricks surrounded by flint. Pretty amazing work. And there would have been a ditch as well that surrounded the town. Maybe that was part of the early settlement of Verulamium, however you say that, which was a previous name of the area. But look at this fantastic wall. Brilliant. It's probably here still because this was in the wooded area, and so that made it difficult for the townsfolk to rob the stone out and use it in the town. So it was easier to take what was easily more exposed. This is the corner part of the wall, and you can see the shape of it as it heads back down. So the Romans invaded Britain in AD 43-ish, allegedly, although there's rumours that they were here a little bit earlier than that. Think about Boudica. She attacked and went on her rampages in AD 61, and in those rampages she completely took out what was Verulamium, or the town that was here before. Not the town that got rebuilt. It was more of an open planned area, so it was easier to attack. Certainly didn't have the walls that we've just filmed, and she completely sacked the place. Carried on going north up Watling Street, destroying any towns that were between here and where she finally had her final battle. The exact location historians aren't completely sure, but of course she also went through Dunstable, which was Duro Cobris, and she completely destroyed that as well. And of course Dunstable started to re-thrive around the time of the Doomsday Book. So in both instances, Boudica and her team wiped out pretty much anything that was around here. Colchester, London, St Albans, and she was on the verge of winning the battle if it weren't for some tactical genius from the Romans, who had marched all the way back down from North Wales and put them in a situation where they had too many people and no space to fight in. So the Romans did their research, knowing that the Britons couldn't go anywhere else. But up till then, they'd been successful and routed the Romans wherever they went. Now this later town or city of St Albans and the walls was fortified around the year AD 300, and so it would have stood here for another 110 years, I suppose, till the Romans withdrew. But it still proved to be an active town city, to the Saxon times, the medieval times, of course, and into modern history. The current town has its name, St Albans, based after the first Christian martyr who was put to death in this town, hence the name St Albans, as it was named after him from there onwards. So now we're inside the Roman walls, heading towards one of the townhouses, and we don't know if we'll be able to get to see it, but there's an amazing mosaic inside here. The rest of the mosaics are inside the museum to protect them, obviously, because a lot of this is ground surface, just underneath the ground, so it's important that they protect it, and much of it is inside the museum. So go to the museum if you want to see it, but if you want to go for a beautiful walk and walk through 2,000 years of history, come to Verulamium Park in St Albans. Absolutely stunning. And bring the dog as well. The dog will enjoy it. Now, every time I come here, this place is always closed. So hopefully, because it's a weekday, it's going to be open. Oh, it's open, quick, come in, quick. Right, so you're going to get some light flashing from the strobe lights. Well, they're not strobes, are they? It's just that their refresh rate's different on the camera. Look at this, absolute brilliant. Look at this. Oh, wow. So you can see the mosaic in the flesh. Normally I can only see this through the window. Wonderful, look at this. Imagine having this in your house. Wouldn't that be brilliant? Raya's not too interested, so she's just gone out. But let's talk about what we can see here. Look at that. So there's the traditional pattern of the rope-like design going around the outside of the tesserae. That would have taken some serious craftsmanship to build this, to design this, to lay this out. And have kindly put out a display cabinet of some of the materials that were found at the house. Isn't that brilliant? Some flagons. There's a now imitation Samian pot there, you can see that, because that's fully intact. But look at this amazing work that would have been inside the house. Flagons, drinking vessels, of course. Marvellous. I suppose we'll be able to see some more information on I don't know if we can see through there. It's just missed it up, it's just lit up. Perhaps we'll be able to see that from the other part. But of course you can see the hypocast. If you look there, so this would have been heated, wouldn't it? Heated flooring, wow, it's only a modern thing for us. Here we go, and you can see how they did it. with this excellent graphic on the wall here. It says there were 220,000 tesserae laid out around AD 180, so about 100 years after Boudica did her work in St Albans, or Verulamium. And you can see where it sort of sits in the townhouse plan. There's that little section there. Now, Dr. Tessa Wheeler and Dr. Norman Davey, they were the ones who were doing the excavation. It's really good that this is still in situ. It gives you an idea of some of the building around it. I think there's an imitation flue on the floor, so we're going to go and have a look at that. Yeah, what's called a box flue. I think it's fantastic. Imagine having this in your house. Apologies for the flickering, it's just the frame rate and the lights as they're pulsing as well. You can see a bit more box flue on the floor there. How brilliant is that? Oh, I'm really pleased we was able to get in and see this, show this to you. Imagine being the person who found this in the 30s. That's brilliant. Here's an artist's impression of what the Roman city would have looked like. You think about a building that was 2 stories high. At the time of the Britons, they would have probably found that really intimidating. And yet, this is the type of house that people lived in. Just amazing. I love the way that they decorated their floors, and you know, it just goes to show that people were extremely skilled even 2,000 years ago. Whether we could build anything like this now with our skills, don't know. Don't seem to be able to fix anything these days. We seem to throw it in landfill, don't we? So as we come out of the house there with the mosaic, just thinking about how amazing the town would have looked. In fact, Raya's sitting here having a rest. She's done a lot of walking today. But you can imagine the Roman city as we look out ahead of us. Hello Raya. She's looking tired now. She wants to stop for some lunch. Do you, Raya? Yeah? She's not saying anything. She doesn't speak English very well. Speaks dog. But imagine the rest of the town being laid out ahead of you inside the safety of the city walls. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we hope that you enjoyed our video together. We thank you for making it through the journey with us around the Verulamium Park. Hope you enjoyed the little bits of history. And we thank Raya and Veneris for coming along on the journey with us.
It was a good time, didn't you?
It was good, wasn't it? Yeah. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next video. Please subscribe and please put a thumbs up. It helps the channel out very much. And we hope you enjoyed seeing a little bit of our guest presenter, Raya, who's raring to go now because she wants to go and have some lunch with us over at the cafe. So until then, stay safe, see you soon. And please stay on the channel. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye.
And some of the highlights of this place is the museum for the Verulamium. Do that again. Welcome back to the channel. We hope you're safe and well. For a change, we've actually come out on a sunny day. In fact, I'm actually sweating. We've come to St Albans, also known as Verulamium. And in fact, I'm standing outside of the museum here, as you can see. we have to keep rolling. The channel. We hope you're safe and well. It's been some time since we've seen you. We've actually come out on a sunny day for a change.
Hang on.
Thing with Raya, because she's little babies, she still picks up absolutely everything, but don't show her owners this footage of her chewing this stick to bits. It's important that they don't see this footage. Raya, don't tell anyone, yeah? Keep quiet about it, yeah? Good girl. You think about Boudica, she attacked in 19, stupid fool. Don't eat the lead. Where? Don't eat the lead. No eating of the lead. We'll get into trouble again. Don't. Where?
Right, up with me.
Raya. 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 Hello. 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 Oh. You're just waiting for my Victoria sponge, aren't you?